Just look at the camera. All right. All right.
Cute. Yeah, just stare at the camera. It's just like, oh.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. You look great. Hello, Rams, and welcome to our very last episode of Humans of CSU. It's been a crazy year, and we've met some incredible people from all over CSU, but tonight we're doing something a little different. Instead of looking out for interesting people, today we'll be looking in. CTV, the Collegian, and KCSU are all part of Rocky Mountain Student Media, and so tonight we're going to be talking to members of each organization to give all of you a special inside look at Humans of Student Media. Our first guest tonight is Cheyenne Duba, the podcast director for KCSU and member of the band Taro. Thanks for being here tonight, Cheyenne.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, for sure. And you've been in CTV before, so you know what this is all about.
Yeah. I like the couches instead of the table. It's much more laid back and chill.
Chill here. Cool. So tell me how you got involved in KCSU.
So I started DJing at first, and I had a show called Swifty Beats when Rick and Morty was all the craze. And I was in Hannah Copeland, who's the broadcast manager, her audio production class. And she actually approached me and said that, hey, I think you'd make a good podcast director. This position is opening up. So I ended up applying. I actually really wasn't into podcasting before that, but I was always into audio production. I've produced music and written music for about like 2.5 years by now. So yeah, I've always been into that. And so I applied, got the job. I've been doing it for 1.5 years. And it's been a relatively new position. It's been around for 2 years or so I've been doing it for the majority of the time.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, because podcasts are relatively like new. Well, I mean, they've been around for a long time, but I feel like they've become really popular recently.
Yeah, there's like this big wave, like just surge of podcasts. And I feel like we got to ride that wave and make podcasts with KCSU
Yeah, definitely.
a thing and catch on. Yeah, it's fun.
So what's your favorite part about that job?
I do like the production that's involved with that job the best. I'm producing a podcast called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. It's a newer one, and we just have people come in and tell their craziest sex, drugs, and rock and roll stories. And so I just get to edit them together and put all these crazy sound effects. Like I go on YouTube and I find these meme sound effects for podcasting, just little snippets from Vines and stuff, and putting those together have been really fun.
That's awesome. Cool. When is that already out, or when will it be out?
It's already out. The first 2 episodes are actually already out. The second one, the most recent one, is actually Drake Bell, because we got to interview him, and he told his story about this tweet that he wrote about a fan that just handed him weed in a Gucci store.
Whoa.
So it's like a little 5-minute interview with Drake Bell about that. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So what are some of the other popular podcasts that you have at KCSU?
So we have Do You Even Lift Bro? Men Exercising Social Justice. I'd say that that's probably our most popular, if not killer vibes, but Do You Even Lift Bro? Is hosted by 2 members of the Women and Gender Advocacy Center, and they just introduce topics that really make men like challenge their social thinking and just, I don't know, even me, I listened to episodes and I didn't even know that there were certain issues that they bring up, and it's a cool way of, just thinking outside the box and making sure that you're being inclusive and all.
That's awesome. And then the other one's Killer Vibes.
Killer Vibes, yeah, that's done by Randy and Claire, and they go and they tell stories. They research serial killers and murders and stuff, and it's really spooky and fun.
Yeah, that's a fun one that I like to listen to. I actually listened to the Golden State Killer one while I was flying to California last weekend. So it might not have been the best idea because I was terrified of finding a murderer in my closet, but I'm here, so I didn't get murdered. So
yay!
So you're also in the local alternative band Taro. What's it like being in a band?
It's really fun. Yeah, it's actually just me and Steve, so we're a little duo. And it's better than just playing music by yourself. I actually didn't know how to, play all the music that I produced live, and then I met Steve, and it's been such a different experience actually being able to sing those songs live in front of an audience and dance and just like really let that other side of my personality come out and just have fun. But
so do you write all the songs that Taro sings?
So yeah, I write all the lyrics, and Steve and I like write the musicality of the songs together. But yeah, I write all the lyrics. A lot of them started out as just, little poems in my notebook, even from when I was in high school.
Cool.
And I turned them into something else now, so yeah.
And you have a music video out. We actually just played that one, Don't Tell. Can you tell me a little bit about the process of making that music video?
Yeah, so I wrote the song, and I actually didn't even know what the song was about after I wrote it. And then I went back and listened to it over and over again. And then I realized that it really reminded me of Fight Club, which is one of my favorite movies. And so I kind of just based it off of Fight Club. I wrote out the screenplay and everything. And then I saw a music video done for a local band called This Broken Beat by Justin Urban on Facebook. And I decided to hit him up and say, hey, I'm looking to get a music video done. And so we just brought that idea to life, and it was a really fun process doing it. Yeah, there was one part where I actually had to get drowned in a super cold, freezing lake at nighttime in October.
Oh gosh.
But you had to do it for the art. You gotta do it for the art.
Do it for the art. Yeah. The first time I watched the music video, I hadn't read or seen Fight Club, and then the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, all of the references, even the books at the beginning. I don't know how I missed it.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
it was awesome. Yeah, you looked so great in the music
Thank
video.
you. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, my hair definitely got crazier as the music video went on, but
and full of fake blood. I had fake blood on me once, and it's not fun.
I actually put fake blood in my mouth for the one scene where my best friend Anna, she's the other actress, and she just punches me in the face, and then I have to spit out the fake blood, just holding it in there, waiting until he's just like, okay, go.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight,
Yeah,
Cheyenne.
of course.
It was so much fun to talk to you.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out podcasts at kcsufm.com. Up next, we'll be talking to another remarkable woman from student media, Sydney Wicker, the director of CTV Sports, and next year's assistant executive producer. We'll be right back. Cool. Welcome back from the break, Rams. Over the last year, the CTV Sports Department has seen huge improvements in nearly every way, and I'm sitting here with Sydney Wicker, the director of CTV Sports Department, and the woman responsible for all of the transformation of the department. Sydney, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you, Emma?
I'm good. It's so great to talk to you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your role in CTV Sports.
Yes, absolutely. So I served as the sports director for this past year, but before that, I started off as an anchor, and I only anchored for one semester, but I got to work on the Monday night sports show, which was so cool and so exciting to me, and I didn't think that was even an opportunity that I'd get, especially since I started as a freshman. And then when I started as the sports director, I also decided to step into a producing role, so I produced a little bit also at CTV, and I just really took the lead on reporting, producing, getting my anchors ready, and then just being in charge of the entire staff.
Yeah. So what has been the main changes that you've made?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest changes have definitely come from our graphics, and that's not thanks to me, that's thanks to our graphics coordinator, Jason. But, I would send him these ideas, and him and I would sit down together, even in the summer, because we're both from the same town, and we'd come up with all these new ideas that I had, and I was constantly texting him different ideas and new things that we could do. But so him and I have worked very closely together, but our graphics is where we've probably seen the most improvement, and our highlights as well. We've gone from, just filming in one area to filming in many different areas, and, just getting our reporters to cover and, have a lot of versatility in what they can do in their sports filming aspects.
Yeah, definitely. I've absolutely seen so much improvement in the department, and, you're only a sophomore, so seeing what you can do right now, in the next 2 years, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. So what have been some of the main challenges as the sports director?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of challenges that come with just being a woman in media in general, and then you add sports, which is completely male dominated, and only gets worse. Yeah. So, and that's just the truth. But, it's just been very difficult to, kind of work in an environment where, people don't always, see you as, someone that should be leading. And so I think the biggest struggle was just stepping into the role and getting people to take me seriously, because, I was new and the entire staff was new. which was kind of a plus, but also a negative for the people that had been around for a little while. So, my biggest thing walking into it was just, I want you all to respect me because I respect all of you and everything that you're going to do. So that was my big message that I preach, but it hasn't been an easy road, and there's always people that feel the need to say things that aren't necessary, and I've definitely noticed that, but you gotta just power through, and if you didn't, then you just get demolished in this industry. So you gotta stay strong and just save, the tears and stuff for when you go home,
Yeah, definitely. So have you gotten disrespect from people outside of your team as well, like viewers or even SIDs or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny that you said that because I was just thinking about this tweet that I had seen back during football season, and all I did was I posted our post-game recap. It was me and a male reporter that I was with, and all it said was, the game came down to the wire, catch the full take, here, and the guy was like, it didn't come down to the wire, and he was like, there were so many things that went wrong where CSU could have fixed it, just a really big CSU fan who was mad at the way that I worded this tweet, and so I commented back, and I was just like, sorry you see it that way, but if you watch the video, you can see that we cover everything. We talk about the pluses, we talk about the minuses of the team, and we also talk about the opposing team. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He instantly, just had to apologize. And I was like, no, you're not. That's how you felt, and I don't want to hear that from you, So that was one of the bigger challenges. You just, social media is such a huge platform, so you hear it all the time from so many different people.
Yeah, and I feel like it's often that when a woman is giving their opinion or reporting on sports, it's often immediately shut down by people because they don't feel that women can be qualified to talk about it, which is completely untrue because I'm sitting next to a sophomore who has led the sports department into an incredible year. So it's just frustrating to see.
It's extremely frustrating, but I'm so proud of the girls that I do have on my team and the staff. We're a strong five is what I like to call us. We make up like a fourth of the department, but we're strong, and we get to cover the big stuff like basketball and football. Everybody gets an equal opportunity, and that's definitely what I try to stress.
Yeah, that's great. So who are some of the other women that you look up to in sports media?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many talented women in this industry. It's so hard to just pick one. But, CTV alum Jenny Kavanagh is definitely someone I look up to a lot. I got to interview her and talk about her experience. She was one of the first women in 25 years to call a Major League Baseball game. Yeah. So, that was just amazing and such a big stepping stone. So she's awesome because, she's from CTV. She went to CSU. So she's just a great role model. And Olivia Landis, who now works for the Jets, she's also a CTV alum. I talked to her before coming to CSU, and I just asked her, a little bit about how she got started. So she was someone I loved talking to and getting to know a lot better. But looking at the girls who are out there doing a lot bigger things, like Samantha Ponder, I love her to death, and she's a great role model for moms in the industry because, she has I think 3 kids now, and, and I listened to an interview where she was literally taking care of her daughter in the middle of commercial breaks because that's what she had to do, but that's so amazing to me, and it's so hard because in this industry you're working so many hours, and you're traveling constantly, and so the fact that she can be a mom on top of that is amazing to me. And then Erin Andrews, she can't go unnoticed. She's someone who's been in the industry for years, and she's a great powerhouse for the NFL and just for women in sports. She's overcome cancer and a lot of other things. So I definitely look up to her and the progression that she's made for women in sports.
Yeah, definitely. And so I know you're going to be the assistant executive producer next year, which is also my role. So we're passing the torch here. So what are you most excited about for next year?
Absolutely. I'm just excited to see where we can really go with CTV as a whole. I'm excited to see how the sports department grows and how they continue, what we've already started, because we had to come from scratch pretty much in that department. But, overall, just improving all of the areas, really pushing our name out there, getting other people to know CTV, and just continuing to build on our social media are just some goals that I have. But I'm just so excited to see the growth, and you definitely left a hard path to follow, but I'm going to try my best to fill your shoes.
Oh, you'll fill them and you'll outgrow them, I'm sure. Well, Rams, don't go anywhere, because up next our guest is someone from the Collegian who's done just about everything.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Editor, senator, activist, and even TED Talk speaker Jayla Hodge, the current opinion editor for the Collegian, is a woman who can do just about anything, and we're lucky enough to have her in the studio tonight. Jayla, thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I love talking to you. You're so intelligent and wonderful, and so getting to have you on the show and like showcase you a little bit more.
I don't know if
awesome.
I can do anything, but thank you.
Again. So, okay, so you and I are about to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, what has been your favorite memory at student media?
At student media, wow, there's so many. We're in there every night, every day. I think the people, I'm going to remember them the most just because you build relationships. We joke around, but also it's a critical relationship where we're making each other better at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe my desk meetings, those are wild.
Yeah?
Yeah, everyone knows. If you don't know, opinion is definitely, we're the most wild desk at the paper.
Yeah, why is that?
First of all, it's a room full of opinionated people, some of them with really out there opinions, and you throw us all together. We have debates around astrology going on, but then we also will switch between, I don't know, talking about like race issues or disability, from whether, trying to think of the wildest one I've heard so far.
I've seen some interesting opinions in the opinion pages of the Collegian.
Yeah.
I really like the ones about like the sugar daddies.
Whether being a sugar baby should be considered like a respectable or a job, and you know, there's always a hot take.
Yeah. So how many emails do you field every week from people who are just mad at opinion columns? And I mean comments online too. There's so many.
You know, it depends. It depends on the week, honestly. But I read all of them. First of all, I read all of them. I've seen some pretty interesting emails. Usually from angry people. I've noticed people will reach out more if they're angry. Facebook comments are a whole different story.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, more hot takes.
What's been the strangest email that you've gotten or Facebook comment?
Always the ones that are like, especially when we have environmental pieces come out and people are like, this is fake, or sometimes the flat earthers sometimes will send us something that's interesting. One that, I don't know, that Tony Frank is anti-Semitic, or...
I've received a couple of emails like that too. Or
yeah,
like,
I've got one that's saying I was a crisis act. I've just gotten some like really, really far out there emails.
Yeah. They're
that were not students, this or that.
Yeah, they're typically community members, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, it's fun. It keeps it interesting.
Yeah. So why is having an opinion desk at any newspaper important?
Oh, because I like to think we're like the heart of the community, of the student body. News is happening, that's objective, but opinions are our voices and what we think and feel. And I think our assistant editor, Lita, wrote a column, but she said that you feel very individual in your ideas until you put them out on a platform like this, and then you get responses that are positive, or people saying like, I've thought that too.
Wow.
Yeah. It's cool. It brings us together as a community. You'd think it's opposite, but it's not. It unites us.
That's awesome. I love that answer.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, like I said earlier, you are an activist on campus. You're part of the United Women of Color, the Business Diversity and Leadership Alliance, and you're a senator at the Associated Students of CSU for the Black and African American Cultural Center.
Yeah.
How have those experiences been in the past 4 years?
First of all, for the most part, great. Like, I feel like my organizations are where I found community and love and friendship and the most authentic relationships here. And they're what I'm going to miss probably the most. Some of them harder than others. Like, I say, like, United Women of Color, that's my soul. That's, those are my friends and my sisters. Being at the Collegian, that's my job, that's my duty, that's another thing that I love, but it's like work-based. And then I think of Associated Students of Colorado State University, KCSU, that's like a duty, because I'm representing not myself there, but my community.
Yeah, you're like a public figure.
Yeah, and that one can definitely be the most, like I said, when you're representing other people, there's a lot more on the line and more stakes there. So, I don't know, I've gained something from each of them, though.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah. I'm tired. I will say that. I've learned how to work and function under a lot of stress and how to be tired, but diamonds are made under pressure.
That's true. So how has it been? How have you felt welcomed at CSU being a woman of color?
That's an interesting answer, because like I said, depending on what space I'm in, like in the Black and African American Culture Center, yes, of course, in United Women of Color, again, community fellowship, but in other spaces, the honest answer is no, not always. Especially when you are different, you look different. I stand out. A lot of people don't realize that it's little things from like passive comments to the fact that I get told on a daily basis that my hair is unprofessional. Yeah, so CSU in some regards, it's trying but not quite there. And again, another reason I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope that wherever you go next is a welcoming environment, and I know you're going to shine like a star. So,
I mean, I hope I've been able to like make it better while I've been here.
Oh, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've had incredible impacts on the people around you at the very least, and then doing legislation in the Senate. I'm sure you've had incredible impacts at CSU.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope someone watching this is like, she did.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you've done a TED Talk. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. The TED Talk.
Yeah. There it is.
Wow, there I am again.
So your TED Talk was about mass shootings and gun violence. Can you talk about, it was the three-pronged BEAST that you called it, right?
Yeah, and BEAST is basically an acronym. BEAST stands for Bipartisan Existential Accessibility Societal Theory. And yeah, it talks about the language we use. The discourse around mass shootings is very divisive. It separates us. So people are arguing about, along party lines and ideologies versus addressing the problem. And so that's kind of what that's the gist of the TED Talk. More than anything though, like outside of the studying policy and all the research behind it, I wanted that people to walk out of there feeling like, hey, maybe if I just change my language, I could be a part of the solution.
Yeah. I love that. Was it scary doing a talk in front of a large audience?
Yeah, 'cause it's TED. It's a TED Talk. I've watched so many people that inspired me. Some of my favorite, I wouldn't call them heroes, I guess. Yeah, giving a TED Talk, and it's like, wow, I'm going to be on a platform as so many great people before me, and especially as a student and a young one. I almost didn't even feel qualified, so I was terrified. But I'm so glad I was able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was such a cool thing. And if you want to watch it, it's online. I just searched Jayla Hodge TED Talk because I didn't get to see it in person, but it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you had all the visual aids and stuff, and I thought your points were incredible.
Yeah,
so.
when I first got up there, I didn't have the clicker for the PowerPoint. So in the beginning, you can see I'm nervous, I'm flustered, and then someone snuck up to stage and threw it on there.
Oh no.
But again, it just gave it personality.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you.
Yeah, got a lot of personality.
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight, Jayla. It was awesome having you.
No, thank you for inviting me. Everyone support student media, support CTV.
Support the Collegian and KCSU, support student media.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, Rams, that was only 3 members of Rocky Mountain Student Media, but there are way more amazing people than we could ever hope to bring on the show. So we talked to a few more of them about what Rocky Mountain Student Media and journalism means to them.
There's nothing I don't love about being a part of Rocky Mountain Student Media. It is who I am, and it is the reason I became the person that I will be when I step into the field after this.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best job on campus, really. Working for Rocky Mountain Student Media has been, I don't want to sound cheesy, but kind of life-changing in a way.
There's almost too much that I like about student media. I think primarily just the people that I get to work with on a day-to-day basis. I have made some of the most amazing connections with people. I've made some of the closest friendships, relationships, just everything from this place. So getting to work every day with people that mean the world to me is fantastic.
I have learned so much from everyone around here, and I never would have been able to have such good of friends and such good of a grasp on broadcasting if I wasn't working here.
The one thing that I really like is kind of coming down into the newsroom and knowing that I'm going to be around people that have the same passion and the same dedication to doing this as I do.
I just love working with the students too. They start out as students, but then as they leave and go on to their professional careers, they become my friends and colleagues.
I love the people. The people are honestly the whole reason that I stay and work with CTV. It's so fun. I love going to work every day because I know I'm going to have fun.
I think student media is important because it's a really hands-on experience that prepares students for jobs outside of the workforce. I have been lucky enough to get a job after college, and I would never have been able to do it if I didn't learn everything that I did through Rocky Mountain Student Media.
You get to feel what it means to be a journalist. You get to hone those skills, practice those skills, but also work alongside people who are passionate about the same things that you are.
Student media really has at their core, in their core values rather, the students' best interests in heart, trying to keep them informed, trying to make sure if there's something shady going on campus, people know about it.
Anytime that you ever have a concern with society, you can go to a journalist and see what's going on. People who don't have an agenda, people who just want the truth to be told and want it to be done ethically.
A lot of people don't like journalism anymore because of what it has become, but I think like there is still this like sense of like we're here to seek the truth and report it.
Without journalism, it's really hard to know what's going on in the world, and especially it's really hard to get a grip on what the people in power are just telling us and doing for us.
Public figures and public corporations and entities, when they know there's a set of eyes on them, they tend to act more appropriately and in the public interest.
I think journalism is important because somebody's got to do it. It's kind of like teaching. You don't do it because it pays well or for the glory. You do it because you're passionate about it and you love it and you want to make an impact on the world.
Well, before we go, we have one final guest on the show. Those of you who don't know, this is Matt Leisman, the producer and man behind the magic of Humans of CSU. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I had to be here anyways
yeah,
tonight.
That's true. Yeah, you had to work. Cool. Well, what are you going to miss the most about CTV and Humans of CSU, Matt?
Oh my gosh. Humans of CSU has been like my baby this whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to miss so much about it. It's been an amazing experience. I think the thing I'm going to miss the most is probably the learning.
Yeah.
We've had, like you said, we've had so many amazing people on this show, and like when I went out and found those people, I didn't know everything about them. Like we've had drag queens, we've had chemistry students, we've had people from the Black African American Cultural Center, just all of these amazing people, and I really believe that if we could learn to communicate as humans with each other perfectly, the world would be a much better place. And I like to think that Humans of CSU has been doing that to help us learn about each other.
Yeah, I think that's super important to kind of find community members and find commonality in between you, because everyone has things in common, you know. And so I think it's been so much fun to get to know all these interesting, cool people who are just making the world a better place all the time. It's really fun. Even the bugs were cool.
I really enjoyed the bugs. I went back to see Maya a second time after that and interviewed her for a completely different project. I held Machi again.
Yeah.
The tarantula. That was great. And honestly, before we brought Maya onto the show, I wasn't a big fan of bugs.
Yeah, me either. Now I'm the biggest of fans of bugs. Me and bugs are tight.
I'm not sure I quite believe that.
That's your own prerogative. Just kidding. Well, I've had such a fun time working on this show with you, Matt.
It's been so great.
Oh, it's been awesome. Well, make sure you go back and watch all of the shows. But thank you for being members of CSU and watching the show. We really appreciate all of your support throughout the year. And make sure to tune into CTV next year. Have a good night, Rams.